Hello guys, I am back from another video and today it's about what if Deku was in RWBY. So, in the last video we talked about how, actually I'm just gonna shorten a little bit. Well, apparently there's finally the time, or at least it's finally the day of their first, day at Beacon. And, Izuku decided to do some, light exercise. After coming back, he would see almost all of his members basically stuck on ropes. And let's just say they're really like not really, actually there's sort of flattering angles if you're a man to say the least. But let's just say after seeing them, Izuku would just tell some shadow clones to basically, to basically make breakfast while he basically set them down by using some kunai, or at least, chakra kunai, which is basically, I can't remember his name, but he's basically one of the Naruto, or at least Boruto, Ototsukis. I can't remember the actual name of it, but he's one of the, one of the, not really allies, but more like, a minion of like Momoshiki. Yeah. After doing so, he would basically tell all of them that they should probably get ready because it's finally time for them to start to go to class. And after eating breakfast, they would finally arrive at class and they would see, their teacher by the name of Mr. Port. After, their class, which was mostly about, I don't know, let's just say, was mostly about his so-called quote-unquote heroic deeds, which, yeah, extra out to say the least. So, after, his class, and also, doing a little bit of, like, a demonstration of their power, which, with Izuku and, Weiss's, teamwork, which was flawless, by the way, they would defeat a board tusk that, Mr. Port would basically, bring in. So, yeah, after class, it was finally, combat class, which was sort of normal. I mean, he didn't really get picked because, Cardin was, at the time, was picked to basically be the one to basically fight. And when he saw Izuku, he was instantly afraid, which, sort of confused him, but probably thinks it's because, let's just say because of his, new reputation in school now, to say the least. And so he would decide to fight a girl by the name of Jean Arc. Or Joan of Arc in this case, because I named her Joan of Arc in this, universe, because remember, she's a girl. And so after defeating her pretty badly, he would basically, go over there and would basically, tell her to, just to have a little bit of confidence in herself. And would basically give her some encouragement. After doing so, it would cause her to sort of, become, let's just say, flustered, and not only that, sort of fall in love with him. And so after that, we basically, see them at lunchtime, where they're basically just eating and basically having a grand old time. But, while they're basically having lunch, they would see Cardin and her, and his teammates, specifically all girls, similar to him, but except he has 4 girls while he has 3, seem to be, let's just say bullying a poor little bunny faunus, or rabbit faunus. After seeing this, Izuku decides to, step in, and let's just say would beat down Cardin by using Tsukuyomi, which, oh boy, let's just say was terrifying for him. After using Tsukuyomi and basically telling his teammates to basically get out of his sights, they would basically start to run away because there's no way they're going to fight him. Like, seriously. So, yeah, after doing so, he would basically, look towards a girl as she would say thank you to him. And apparently her name was Velvet. After doing so, a girl by the name of Coco Odell, aka the leader of her, group, or her team, would ask him if he was the one that's bullying her. But, thankfully, Velvet would basically explain the whole situation, which, she was pretty thankful for him basically, trying to protect, Velvet, and would also tell him if he, doesn't have any cash nearby, or, doesn't have any cash at all, she could definitely have, a certain, model for him, or at least a certain job for him. Let's just say modeling, yeah. And so after that, and also that whole situation, especially the whole situation of him basically with her, basically saying that she wants to, if he doesn't have any, doesn't have a job or anything, the whole, modeling part, well, let's just say every girl in the vicinity, including, RWBY, Team RWBY itself, are currently rage fueling at that point. They're basically wondering in their minds, Is it okay to murder this girl over here for daring to touch our Izuku? So yeah, after that, we basically, see them basically going off. After that, it was basically the end of the day as they finally arrived back home, where Izuku would basically make dinner for all of them, which they're pretty, happy for, and they absolutely loved it. And so, we basically ended off the episode right off there. So yeah, that is basically what happened last episode. And so, let us talk about what happens next. So, it was finally the next day, where currently Izuku's basically, getting ready to do his own thing, which, was deciding to go around town. It was finally, the weekend where he's basically gonna go through the town and basically get some new stuff, mostly, new clothing. Because, recently he's been getting a lot of laundry, and so would decide to get some new clothing to, at least survive, or at least wear anything at least, because he's not gonna he's not gonna be wearing the same thing over and over again. So yeah, so he was basically now leaving the campus as he's basically going on a bullhead. Currently with him was his, friends. I mean, sort of. I mean, they literally just met, so sort of, first time met. Either way, basically, he would basically be with Jean and also Pyra, as Pyra would say this. So, Izuku, as Izuku would say this. Yeah? As she would say this. Well, about your, semblance, as Izuku would say this. That. As she would say this, specifically Jean. Mind telling me what is his semblance again? I mean, what the heck is his semblance again? As after being told of this, Izuku would just look at her as he would say this. Well, semblances are basically powers. They're basically fueled by our, it's sort of a subconscious thing, but either way, what do you mean by my semblance? Said Izuku, as she would say this. Well, your semblance, it's a bit weird. You're able to do many different things, and they definitely they definitely don't really seem to be, how do I say this? Matching with each other or something of that sort. After saying this, Izuku would just say this. Ah, I see. You mean I seem overpowered? As she would say this. Yeah, sort of. As after Jean heard this, she would say this. Oh yeah, that. I mean, you were super powerful at that time. Like, seriously. I mean, have you seen your video? You basically created a freaking meteor. After saying this, Izuku would just say that. Well, this. I guess you're right. But still, if you're wondering, well, my eyes, more specifically what I call my dojutsu, which is the name of my semblance, allows me to do different things. I call it the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, this eye. As he would show off, one of his eyes, specifically this one. Yeah, I can't remember which. He would show off, one of his eyes, which would start turning into a black-looking, his eye was just turned black, as the outlines would start, becoming red, with, several looking patterns on there. As she would say this. Whoa. As he would basically close it once again, as he'd say this. And this is my, Tensegon. After showing it off, he would basically open his eye, as it would basically be showing some sort of, weird ass, how do I say this? It's basically like a glowing orb like this. Yeah. And finally, he would say, as he would basically open up his palm, as he would show off his 6 Tomoe Rinnegan, as he would say this. This is the 6 Tomoe Rinnegan. I call it that because, it has 6 Tomoe. But I could just call it the Rinnegan, but for now I'm just gonna call it that. After saying this, one of them would say this. I see. Well, that's certainly quite the ability. As, Jean would say this. Is it, uncomfortable for you to use your, eye, palm, or palm eye? As Izuku would say this. Not really, or particularly, I don't really, have that type of feeling at all. I mean, it sometimes gets a bit uncomfortable in some cases, like, for example, washing the dishes. She would say this. Oh, cool, I guess. As after a while of talking, they would arrive, at Vale, as they would basically get out of the, get out of the bullhead, where they start going their separate ways. Apparently, Jean and also, you know, and for, Pyra, they're basically going on, a shopping spree. As for Izuku, he would decide to go to a little shop to basically get some new clothing. So, yeah. So, we currently see Izuku basically walking around the town and seeing several of the sights. Which, he would also notice a few, decorations. He would start to think that it's probably the Vista Festival, which he learned about a few, days ago from, Wise. As, after a while of walking, he would arrive at a little, shop, which is called a shop called Jason's Clothing Store. Very generic, but at least it's, at least has some pretty, pretty good clothing. As he would start looking through the shop and would see, some clothes near his size. He would basically go to a little, changing room as he would change into them. After, checking out some of the clothes, which were mostly, tank tops, shirts, regular old, long sleeve shirts, white shirts, polos, other types of shit like that, and also finding some, pantses, for example, jeans, also some shorts, and maybe even some underwear, and also some socks. He would basically purchase them as he would start to leave. While he was leaving, he would see a nearby, ice cream shop, as he would say this to himself. Yeah, why not? As after going into the ice cream shop, he would decide to, get some ice cream for himself and, some of the team. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, we currently see, Izuku basically, going into the ice cream shop, as while he was basically there, he would basically, wait in line. While he was waiting in line, he would basically bump into someone. Someone would basically bump into him from behind as he would look over and would see, well, an interesting sight to say the least, but a pretty welcome one, I guess. He would see a girl with, pretty long hair, specifically one side would resemble, pinkish, and the other one would be brown. Her eyes would also have different colors as well. One side being, brown, which seems to be on the side where where her hair is basically pink, and the other one is also opposite, basically, pink, while on the side of, her hair basically being brown. As after seeing her, he would start to think to himself, why does she kind of remind me of Todoroki? After saying that to himself, he would say this, sorry about that, but can you please try not to bump into me next time? As she would just look at him, as she would basically grab her phone, as she seems to be, texting, or at least he thinks so. As she would basically put her phone up to his face, as he would see the words, sorry about that. After seeing, the text, he would say, oh, are you mute? As she would basically nod her head. As Izuku would say this, oh, sorry about that. By the way, the name's Izuku. As she would say this. Or at least not really say, but more go into her, pocket once again and basically bring up her phone and basically, start texting. As it would say this, hi, the name's Neapolitan, or just call me Neo for short. And don't worry, I'm not really, and I don't really mind. And trust me, I didn't really mean to do that. As Izuku would say this. Oh, yeah, anyway, as he would start going towards, start walking forward, as he would see the line basically getting a little bit closer towards the, registry. After doing so, he would basically, go up to the, cashier, finally getting his order, which is mostly a big tub of, ice cream. Mostly, cookie dough ice cream. And for himself, simple, chocolate, vanilla, and, and his favorite Rocky Road. Actually, those are basically my favorite, ice cream flavors, so yeah. So, after basically grabbing his, his ice cream, he would basically look back and would see Neapolitan basically trying to communicate with the, cashier, which, well, she was confused. Seeing her basically, texting out her, thing makes him, makes her, a bit suspicious. As after seeing this, Izuku would basically step in as he would say this. Sorry, ma'am, but she's basically mute, so that's the reason why she couldn't talk. As she would say this. Oh, I see. Very well then. As she would be, as she would basically see the film once again, as she would say this. Alright then. As she would basically bring up a whole Neapolitan, ice cream set. Or, a whole, like, I guess you could say tray of, Neapolitan ice cream. After getting that, she would basically start to leave, as Easy could say this. Yeah, you're welcome, he would say. As she would basically, tells, not really tells, but more like gestures to them to basically come towards her. After doing so, she would basically, grab something from her, from her pocket, as it seems to be a paper. Or at least, a notepad. As she would start scribbling on it, as she would basically give the paper, or at least the piece of paper that she wrote on, to him. As after grabbing it, he would see that it would contain a number, as it would say in the bottom, here's my contacts, cutie, she would say. As after seeing this, she would basically wave goodbye as she would start leaving. As Izuku would say this. Did I got asked out by someone? Or did she try to hit on me, he would say. As Izuku would just shake his head as he would say this. Anyway, he would basically just sigh as he would start leaving, as he would start, eating his ice cream nearby. Like, he would start eating his ice cream while basically going back to, Beacon. Currently. So, we see Neapolitan, aka Neo, basically going through the streets, as she would arrive at a pretty abandoned, site. Specifically an abandoned warehouse. As she would basically arrive there, as she would see a few people. These people seem to be wearing... We would see a few, people wearing masks. More resembling, they seem to resemble like grim masks or, grim faces. As they seem to be wearing some sleeveless jackets, and under that was some black shirts and, black pants. More specifically, basically, near the knees. Not really knees, but more like, ankle length. And they seem to be carrying a lot of boxes, and also some crates nearby. As we currently see, basically, telling all of them was Roman Torchwick. As he would say this, go and grab that one over there, and put it over there. As after doing so, he would basically, look over and would see Neapolitan, or Neo, as he would say this. Ah, Neo, you're finally back. As he would look over to the, towards the ice cream, as he would say this. Are you going to share me some? As she would basically grab her, phone, as she would basically text him, no, with the gift set, with like a middle finger. As after seeing this, he would say this. Ah, you glutton, he would say, as she would basically stick out her tongue. As she would also text him this. By the way, I also found a boyfriend, or at least a suitable one, she would say. As after Rowan heard this, he would say, well, that's a surprise. I mean, why would anybody like... But before he could say anything else, she would basically kick him in the balls. After doing so, after doing so, he'd say, you little... As after going on the ground and feel the, of those people there basically looking at him, he would say this. Did I tell you to stop, you idiots? After saying that, they would start moving on, going back to their work. As he would say this. He would basically just sigh as he would say this. Maybe next time try not to do that. And by the way, if you weren't my goddamn now adopted daughter, I could have now I could have now I'm going to now to the office later. As after doing so, he would basically leave. As Neapolitan would basically, just be there all alone, she would decide to eat her, Neapolitan ice cream. All by herself. As she would start to think about Izuku. As she would say to herself, well, he certainly is interesting, she would say. And yeah, I'm gonna give her, I guess you could say, like, some sort of way to speak, which is mostly in her mind. So yeah, so after doing so, we currently go back to Izuku, as Izuku would basically arrive back, to the dorm, as he would say this. Hey guys, I'm back! After, looking around, he would think, is everybody gone somewhere? Oh well, he would say, as he would put the ice cream nearby into the, freezer, as he would decide to, prepare dinner. So, after, a bit of shadow clothing and also getting some of the ingredients, he would basically finish off his dinner. And also putting up, dessert as well, specifically the ice cream. As after doing so, he would hear the door open, as he would say this. Ah, guys, you're back! But before he can say anything else, he would look over and would see, well, he would see Jean and also Pyra. But not only that, he would also see the rest of their team. Apparently, their team was called Team Juniper, which consists of Jean Arc or Jonavok. Then there's, Pyranika. Then there's Nora Valkyrie, and finally Ray or Lai Ren. As after seeing, Ren and also, Nora, he would say this. Hello there, sorry, but why are you here exactly? As Pyra would say this. Well, we're here because we wanted to talk to you. Mostly, not really us, but more like, our friends here. As Ren would come closer to him, as he would say this. Is that you, Izuku? He would say, as Izuku would say this. Huh. Guess it really is you, Ren, he would say. As after doing so, Ren would basically run up to him and would hug him, as he would say this. Izuku, you're okay. By the way, what happened to you? Where did you go? And as after hearing his name, Nora would just would start to cry, but not cry of sadness, but would cry, tears of joy, as she would say this. Izuku, you're not dead! After saying that, she would run up to him, as, she would basically, instantly just, hug him tightly, as he would say this. Nora, I can't breathe! As after saying that, she would basically, get off him, as she would say this. Oh yeah, right, sorry about that. As Izuku would basically just, start to breathe, start to breathe heavily, as he would say this. Maybe next time try not to, do that. God, I can't breathe. As after saying this, Lei Ren would say this. So, it's been a while, Izuku, he would say, as Izuku would say this. Yeah, it seems so. By the way, what happened to you? I couldn't find you during the whole, well, as after saying this, he would say this. Well, we were safely secured by some hunters, especially me and, and Nora. But for you, what happened? As Izuku would say this. Well, while I was in the village, still being burnt down by some of the Grimm, I would see one of the Grimm basically getting ready to attack me, and I would somehow unlock my semblance. As she would say this. Really then? After Nora heard this, she would basically come up to him, as she would say this. Then what the heck is your semblance? As after hearing this, Izuku would just say this. Have you seen the video? As she would say this. What video? As Lei Ren would say this. Yeah, what are you talking about? After saying this, Pyra would just say this. You didn't really see the video? As he would say this. Yeah, we were mostly, actually, wait for a second. As, actually, I'm going to be rewriting that part. It's more like this. Wait, you mean that? You mean your, gravity thing? As he would say this. Yeah, pretty much that. After saying this, he would say this, specifically, Ren, as Ren would say this. So, either way, it's been a long time. How have you been? As after saying so, Izuku would just say this. Well, I mean, how do you say, I don't know, maybe mostly, working my way up in the ladder of, how do I say this? Oh yeah, I've been working or not really working, but more like staying in the monastery, in the, Temple of Om for my whole life, ever since, you basically, or at least after our village was destroyed, he would say. As one of them would say this. Wait, you mean that Temple of Ohm? Said, Leiren. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, apparently they found me during, the whole village destruction. And they saved me because they thought I was about to die. And after I recovered, I decided to stay there and work as like a sort of monk. After saying this, Nora would say this. Whoa, that means you're pretty powerful, right? As Izuku would say this. Yeah, I guess you could say that, but not as powerful as the other monks. I mean, I could definitely beat them now thanks to help of my, semblance basically fully, mastered, but I'm not too sure about that, he would say. As one of them would say this. Specifically, Jean would say this. Anyway, what is that heavenly smell? She would say, as she would start sniffing the air, as one of them would say this. Yeah, it smells so good, said Nora. I meant, Pyra. As, Leiren would say this. As usual, Izuku, you're able to basically create perfect dishes. Similar to me, he would say, as Izuku would say this. Well, I did learn from the best. Or in this case, used to, he would say, as she would say this. Specifically Nora. Yeah, remember when you used to cook for us? Ren? After saying that, he would say this. Yeah, but most of the time you actually preferred pancakes. Especially during dinners. As Izuku would start to laugh a little bit, as he would say this. Oh yeah, remember that time that you basically almost choked on, too much, pancakes? As after hearing this, she would say this. Oh, shut up. Besides, I became big and strong. As she would basically flex her muscles. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, I'm pretty much surprised that you didn't became... Actually, not even going to say it. As after hearing this, one of them would say this. What do you mean, Izuku? A curious, Jean would say. As Izuku would say this. Yeah, just never mind. Anyway, and if you're wondering what's that heavenly smell, well, that's, dinner for my, teammates. But I do have some, extras basically laying around. After basically getting them out, he would basically bring out, dinner. Or at least, some extras. Which were basically like orange chicken. As everybody would just smell the heavenly, scent, as Leiren would say this. Whoa, it certainly smells better than my cooking. As one of them would say this, specifically Nora. As she's currently just drooling at that point. She's just basically drooling, as Jean would just be amazed seeing the dish. As Izuku would say this. Well, dig in. And by the way, I don't really need to eat. I'm just gonna be eating with my, teammate. After saying that, they would decide to, eat the chicken, as after putting them in their mouth, just imagine, those scenes in, Food Wars. Yeah. Yeah, just imagine something like that. As they're currently having a... No, I'm not gonna say it. No. It sounds so wrong. So, yeah. So, after, finishing the chicken, one of them would say that, specifically, Nora. It's so good, said, Nora. As, Jean would say this. Yeah, it's super amazing. Like, how did you make the chicken super crispy? As, one of them would say this specifically Pyra. Yeah, it was amazing, especially the sauce. As, Ren would say this. Yeah, that was truly amazing. You certainly had surpassed me, Izuku. As Izuku would say this. I guess so. As after saying that, they would start to hear the knock on the door. As after, hearing this, Izuku would say this. Huh, wonder who it is. As he would basically come up to the door and would basically open it, seeing the rest of Team RWBY. As Izuku, after looking at them, he would say this. Whoa, what happened to you guys? As one of them would say this. Oh, nothing, said, RWBY, a little bit tiredly. As Izuku would say this. Did something as, Weiss would just tell him to basically just please be quiet, because apparently she's super tired, and he can probably notice it by the voice. As, Yang would say this. Oh, come on, guys, I mean, it wasn't really my fault. As, one of them would say this. This is the last time I'm ever bringing you anywhere, especially during a special meeting. Mostly to a, to a certain fancy restaurant. After saying this, Izuku would just say this. Anyway, guys, I already made dinner, so you can go get it, over there in the kitchen. And I also gotten some ice cream for you guys. As after saying this, their mood would instantly change from depressed to instantly happy as they would start running towards the kitchen. As one of them would say this, specifically Blake. Were they? As Izuku would say this. Oh, that's Team Juniper. They actually wanted to meet up with me, so yeah, that is why they were here. As Blake would say this. I guess so. Anyway, just make sure to get some sleep. We're gonna be staying up late for now, so as Izuku would say this. Okay then, as after saying this, Izuku looked back at, his, sort of new friends as well. As he would say this. Guys, are you planning to leave? As Jean would say this. Oh yeah, we should probably get some sleep now. And after saying that, all of them would start to agree, and they would start leaving. As everybody would just say goodbye to them. Including, Nora, as Nora would basically, instead of, doing a little wave or something, instead, she would basically give him a seductive wink, which kind of concerned Izuku. Sort of. And it sort of gave him a bit of give him shivers down his spine. And you probably know what is that supposed to mean. And so, after that, we basically, see Izuku basically changing into his new clothes. Specifically, new sleeping clothes. Which mostly consist of a, yeah. Let's just say, a simple, white tank top and some simple, shorts. As he would also be wearing, yeah. Not really, yeah, let's just say a sort of jacket. Because it also have, AC there in their dorm room specifically. So, Izuku is starting to become a little bit colder now and decides to, use some jackets for this time around. And so, after going into bed, he would basically fall asleep on his, wait for a second, on his futon. But, while he was basically, already, falling asleep, one of them, or at least one of the people there, in his dorm room would start, going towards his bed. And that person seems to have this almost glowing figure. As she would say this, nighty night. After saying that, she would basically come a bit closer to him, as she would press her pretty nice chest on her, onto Izuku's back. And so, we're gonna be leaving the episode right off here. So yeah, this is a pretty short episode, but either way, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!